Why does an ex write or call? Why do exes come back? 11 reasons. In this video, we'll talk about the reasons that affect a man. A man who may have made the decision to break up himself, but after some time, he reappears. He starts calling, writing, maybe even accidentally meeting you somewhere, trying to start a conversation. So, why does a man do this? What influences him? Why does a man decide to resume communication after some time? In this video, we'll talk about exactly that, but before we move on to discussing this video, I ask you to click the buttons, subscribe, and like. This will help the video get recommended, so that as many people as possible can see it. So let's begin. The first reason why an ex might reappear in your life is the realization of a mistake and the desire for a second chance. Here, you'll feel everything yourself. Here, the man is very sincere. He speaks plainly, doesn't beat around the bush, doesn't hide, and doesn't look for any sneaky ways. In other words, he is candid. He says that he made a mistake, that he realized he loves you, and that it was time and distance or the breakup. That showed him and pointed out what he didn't understand about his feelings for you. And he'll talk about this sincerely and honestly. If the partner is sincere and you are ready, meaning your feelings haven't faded and you are willing to work on the relationship because it will be difficult at first. In any case, the woman will feel pain from certain situations. She will worry that at some point the man might decide to leave her again. So there will be meticulous work on the relationship and naturally on oneself. And of course here, it's a big job, I'll repeat, and mutual trust. Here it will be necessary to learn well. Let's say to trust because there has already been, let's say, a kind of betrayal. That is, the man left and the woman has fear. Moving on, the second reason why an ex might write is doubt. That is, here, unlike the first point we discussed, so the first point, there, the man is sure he realized what he lost, he figured himself out, he understood that he just made some mistakes. But doubt is something entirely different. Here, the man is not trying to think about the feelings of his ex-woman. He doesn't understand what he himself feels. He doubts himself, and the messages and calls are just attempts to figure out what he wants. That is, the focus here is not on you, but on him. Maybe he's lacking something right now. Communication, maybe there's no woman nearby. If a man is trying to ask you for help to open his eyes to himself, if you feel these doubts in communication and conversation, then you need to not communicate with such a man. That is, you should stop communicating yourself because it will just be painful for you because the man is figuring himself out and not thinking about you at all. That is, he is in these doubts about what he needs next in life, what kind of woman he needs. Communication with you is just a way to figure himself out, further losing his comfort zone. For this reason, men often try to return back. So what is a comfort zone for a man? It's not just clean, tasty, peaceful. It's also the established routine he had. That is, everything he had in the relationship with you, that is his comfort zone. Even if something was wrong, it is still his comfort zone. He is used to. For example, the necessity of resolving issues. Like that. So, for instance, when he falls asleep, he only has as much of you as he does. That is, all the habits he acquired in the relationship with you, everything that was in your relationship. And so his comfort zone like this, even when encountering other relationships. If a woman behaves differently in a relationship with him, he feels that. For example, it's not as comfortable with her, and he realizes that it was better with you. And so he tries to return not to you, but to where he felt good. And a man is actually very honest. He will tell you everything. So if you hear a man saying that he wants to come back to you because it was pleasant, warm, cozy, and comfortable with you, but he doesn't talk about the feelings he experiences without you, meaning he doesn't say that it hurts without you, that he has reevaluated things, that he misses you, that he feels bad specifically without you. If he says that he feels uncomfortable, that in other relationships she doesn't cook as well, she doesn't clean as well, for example, she doesn't do everything right there, you know that the man is trying to restore the relationship just for his comfort zone. But there's a huge danger here. If you take the man back A man who is seeking his comfort zone, then over time, as he gets used to everything. Again, meaning he feels comfortable and good. Again, he will want other emotions. He remembers that, with you, he doesn't feel what he would like to feel. And over time, the situation may repeat itself. Therefore, here you need to think about yourself. The fear of loneliness is yet another reason, meaning we, the man, exited the relationship, made the decision to break up himself, and thought that now he would meet one, then another, and a third, choosing for himself and being very happy in relationships. He will choose the one who won't, for example, nag him, will resolve issues for him, and do everything he wanted. And then he realizes that not only is there no one like he dreamed of, but it's also difficult to build any relationship at all. This one doesn't seem right. He went on a date. Nothing came of it. Introductions lead nowhere. And then he realizes who he lost. That is, he lost the woman with whom everything was good, meaning he wasn't alone. And now there's loneliness. And this fear that he won't meet anyone, that there's no one nearby. No one, as time goes by, can affect him to start writing, calling, and trying to return to the backup plan. So again, let's say this ties in with the fear of loneliness. That is the man, again, while there's no one around. But the most important thing here is to find out if the man has recently gone through a fresh drama. That is, if he's now telling you, calling, writing, and explaining that he had a relationship and she was like this. So shameless. She treated him in such and such a way. It hurt him so much, and that you never treated him like that. You know that he sees you as a backup plan. Yes, he's in pain right now. And in the moment he compared and realizes that you never treated him like that, he wants communication. But such relationships are comparable, well, for example, to a plane running out of fuel and landing on the first island it finds in the ocean. Otherwise, it would just fall into the water. So, as soon as the fuel issue is resolved, he will fly to where he wants to go. It's the same with the backup plan. Right now, he's in pain, feeling bad. He's ready to heal his wounds, to be near you. But after some time, he will move on. Move on. Using a certain resource. A person gets used to everything in a relationship. And a person, after leaving a relationship, eventually realizes that it was comfortable in the relationship. For example, a woman might have had financial stability or some other resources that interest the man, and he realizes that now he feels uncomfortable. That is, perhaps the woman has a place to live, maybe she doesn't earn much, and overall some kind of emotional resource. That is, the man goes for such a recharge. And here he can use anything, time or place. And yes, such relationships can exist in principle. But the woman must understand that in these relationships, she is not loved. She is simply being used. Does the woman want to renew such a relationship? So, it's necessary to ask yourself this question. That is, if the man, he will tell you everything. He will say, I have nowhere to live, and so on and so forth. That is, the man, he is sincere, he tells you. If the woman listens to the man carefully, she understands everything, without imagining things he hasn't said. Moving on, the thirst for polar emotions. Now this is an indicator of unhealthy relationships. That is, if you see that in your relationship before the breakup, there were emotional swings, meaning it was very good, then very, very painful, then you can assume that the breakup was just another pain for you, only so that later it would be very, very good, and so on. In such relationships, it's usually like a roller coaster, ups and downs, ups and downs. Surely, a person with a healthy psyche cannot endure such. That is, it's like living on a powder keg. You need to assess for yourself what is happening in your life. And if a man left you, it was very painful, and after some time he returns with flowers, with admiration, and everything is so incredible that all the bad is forgotten, and you already anticipate that it will be painful again. Most likely you are dealing with either a narcissist, a manipulator, or someone who needs to. Such emotions. And it will never be stable with him. It will never be comfortable with him. Again, the choice is yours. Further, expectations from the breakup were not met. We can never predict how it will be. For example, without the person. When we are in a long-term interaction with a partner, our emotions and feelings become dulled. Sometimes people even stop noticing each other, as if this happiness becomes dulled, and a person starts doubting their feelings, wondering if they really love the person next to them, if that person is really important to them. And often mistakes are made, meaning the person didn't understand what their partner meant to them. When making a decision to break up, a person thinks they will be happy, that they will experience some bright new emotions, relationships, completely different ones. But after some time passes, the person realizes that no, without their beloved, it's even worse. And other relationships that come into their life don't bring the same joy that the relationship with you did. And at this moment, a man might decide to come back. In other words, he needed the situation to understand, what do you mean to him? That is, perhaps there was a crisis moment in the relationship, a difficult situation, and he got tired and thought that everything with you was complicated. But after reassessing the situation from the outside, that is, being without you, he realized that he had made a huge number of mistakes. And again, the man will tell you about this. You will feel and understand everything. Be sure to listen to the man who is trying to come back to you, what he talks about, whether he speaks about his comfort, whether he talks about feelings with you, whether he compares you to other women, or if he only talks about himself. What the man talks about are the moments he is concerned about. If he talks about his feelings for you, if he says he made mistakes and realized how important you are to him, then it's sincere. It means he understands and he is expletive, wants to come back further. Pity, guilt, and shame. That is, a man may feel a sense of pity. That is, seeing you from somewhere, seeing that you are feeling bad. There are still mutual friends, acquaintances, or colleagues who tell him how much you are suffering. And the man, out of guilt and shame, understands that you did a lot for him. He tries to come back, meaning he can't handle it himself anymore, but nothing will work out in this relationship on feelings of guilt and shame. It's impossible to build a happy relationship on such feelings, meaning the person will always want to leave you, but there will be feelings of guilt, shame, pity. And surely, absolutely no woman wants someone to be with her out of pity. So, if a man tells you that he pities you, then draw your conclusions. Do you need a relationship out of pity, or will you try to build other, more harmonious relationships? Next, habit. Here, a man might come back. Try to come back because you are very understandable to him, while other women are completely incomprehensible. A man going on a date with another woman realizes that she behaves in a certain way, jokes in a way that's not quite right. He doesn't understand what she means. Arguments with her are not as understandable as with you, and he realizes that all of this is complicated for him. And it was much simpler with you. You were more understandable, and the man talking with you, he will mention that. When dating other women, they are all not like you. They are unclear, different in some way. They are strange, but you are the one for him. However, again, the relationship can work if there is mutual desire to work on the relationship and interact. That is, the man again understood who you are to him, what you mean to him, how it is with you. In other words, he compared. Here, it's only your desire to renew such a relationship or to move on. And lastly, jealousy. This desire for control. That is, the man himself made the decision to break up. He lived separately from you for some time, and somewhere deep down, hoped that you were suffering without him. But he saw that you were doing well, met you somewhere smiling, learned about your successes. At work, perhaps some career advancement. In other words, he realized that without him, you seemed to be on the rise, that everything seemed to be going well for you, and you were absolutely not suffering. And here arises such jealousy, a desire to control you. How come? She's doing well without me. And this thirst, the desire for control, can influence a man, and he wants to come back. That is, if you were suffering somewhere on the side, he would see it, and it would make him feel very good on a soul level, and he wouldn't try to come back. But by showing your successes, showing that you're generally doing well, Without this man, he will try to come back to control you. That's all for this video. This was Elisa Vardomskaya with you. I hope for your likes and subscriptions. Write in the comments what you would like to discuss in my new videos. Don't forget to hit the bell, and goodbye to everyone.